All right, welcome to the first Self-Mentorship Sprint. If you want to move fast and have a bigger impact with the steps you take on campus, this training is for you. If you've ever felt slowed down, right, or that leadership feels painful and difficult, this training is for you. Now, in my world, there are two types of school leaders: Ruckus Makers versus Play It Safe principals. Play It Safe principals, they protect the status quo. They are very comfortable with tradition. They don't see any reason to question why are things the way they are. So they get what they've always been getting, right? Play it safe principles improve. Yes, I don't want to deny that. When they do improve, though, it's incremental improvement. When they have problems, they go to the manual and it's like, how do we deal with the union? Okay, let me turn to page 367. There's the answer. Ruckus Makers, on the other hand, are visitors from the future showing us how education can one day be. There's no manual for that. There's no manual for creating a campus experience that people will value, that's worth showing up for. When Ruckus Makers get better, it's exponential. Their way of being requires leadership and innovation. Ruckus Makers do school different. Now, you know as much as I do as a school leader, you don't choose when chaos erupts and comes knocking at your door. And that's why I'm so excited to teach you this concept, the art and science of self-mentorship today. Self-mentorship is all about agency and independence and courage. It's taking radical ownership over your own development. And the best tool to do that is Digital Danny, right? Digital Danny is available here in the Ruckus Maker Club. He is my digital clone. The context in which he serves you is not the World Wide Web, the internet, right? Where anybody with an internet connection and in a keyboard can give you very average advice. Digital Danny's trained on 5 of my books, many podcast episodes, keynotes, conference presentations, workshops, courses I've taught, and most importantly, 10 years of coaching conversations with school leaders. Now, of course, I make that content anonymous when Digital Danny shares it with whoever's chatting with him. But if ChatGPT is a primary care physician, Digital Danny is a heart surgeon. He is a specialist, and he's here to serve Ruckus Makers and school leaders that want to do school different. So let me tell you a quick story. This story begins. It's January. I'm in my office. I'm doing an end of the year review, which is something that I love to do, right? Most people do that around the end of the year. I'm setting goals. And part of my goal setting process, maybe the most important part, is identifying what to stop doing. What am I going to say no to in the next 12 months? Ironically, for this training today, on that list is Digital Danny. And I'm thinking, I don't know if it's worth it, right? But before I pull the plug on Digital Danny, I dig into the data because he's been available to clients for about 5 months, from August 2025, and right now it's January, right? December 2025, January 2026. What I find surprises me. About half of my clients are using him. So by clients, I mean mastermind members and one-on-one clients. Most are barely touching it. Maybe 20 to 30 chats over those 5 months. A handful of people have chats in the hundreds. But then there's Corey. He's the outlier. He's used Digital Danny from August through December 910 times. I'm absolutely shocked at this revelation. I analyze and dig into his usage, and in that moment, I see a glimpse into the future. And I realize that Digital Danny is actually my number one way to support Ruckus Makers. So I take a new approach with Digital Danny, defining specific jobs to be done, 4 to be exact. And I spend weeks revamping the entire system to create version 2. I invite Corey, the super user, to a call. And on that call, my goal is simple. I want to find out what's working, what's broken, and how he describes using Digital Danny to his colleagues. I learned so much on that call. I learned the jobs that Corey has hired Digital Danny to help him do, and I learned the name of the category of what we've built. To date, traditional professional development is permission-based. It's waiting on the system to support you as a school leader. And for Ruckus Makers, that's not enough. When I asked Corey how he explains digital Danny to a colleague, he says, oh, that's easy. I'm this go-getter. I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm in charge of how I grow as a leader. So digital Danny's like this guide helping me self-mentor. Those two words that Corey gives me as a gift, those two words I combine into a new category that describes what I've been doing with my life for the last decade, self-mentorship, where on the podcast, I talk to people much smarter than me with much more experience, and I ask them questions to help me selfishly close my own leadership gaps. I've been on the journey of self-mentorship for decades. I've been doing that learning in public, and that learning has changed my life. Self-mentorship has always been the path of a ruckus maker. When Corey gave me those words, my mind exploded with possibility. I felt a huge wave of relief, the wash away the embarrassment that I had nearly thrown away digital Danny and potentially my entire future. I looked at my notepad, which was suddenly full of possibilities, and I saw the path forward, clear as day. I thought this product I almost killed, this tool, this digital Danny, is actually the thing that will define the next 10 years of how I serve ruckus makers. And I felt gratitude, so much gratitude for Corey in that moment. I had to pause because I knew he didn't just save digital Danny, he saved my future. Thank you. So I want to talk about 4 limiting beliefs that happen, especially as you embark on this journey of self-mentorship. These beliefs exist prior to that moment you say yes. Limiting belief number 1 is if I just had more information, right? I know what I do. And this might show up, in principal circles. You circle the same problem for weeks. The staff survey, you're pulling more data, you schedule another listening session or fireside chat. You might tell yourself, I'm gathering input, when actually you're just delaying decisions. This kind of thinking makes you stuck. And you're not stuck because data's missing. You're stuck because committing to a move means accepting that there's problems, things that are wrong that you need to change. Here's what shifts when you break that belief. Information stops being the bottleneck. You realize you already have 80% of what you need, and the last 20% won't come from more data, another spreadsheet, another listening session. It'll come from making the move and watching what happens. It's like an experiment. You're collecting data and changing things as you need to. The new belief that unlocks this action: clarity comes from action, not before it. Clarity comes from action, not before. Limiting belief number 2. My situation is too unique. It's too unique, Danny, for this framework to work. You just don't get it. Maybe you've heard about something I teach called the ideal week or the lead domino, and immediately you start listing all the exceptions. Oh, that works for schools in the suburbs. My context is different. Oh, my superintendent would never let me do this. Oh, my staff, Danny, is not ready for that. The framework gets dismissed before you even try it. You stay in a reactive pattern and tell yourself it's because the tools don't fit the context, when really the tool threatens an identity built on being uniquely overwhelmed. Here's what shifts when that belief breaks. The tool stops being a referendum on whether the principal, that's you, is the kind of leader who could pull it off. The tool becomes scaffolding. You run the tool and listen to these words. You run it imperfectly for maybe a few weeks to discover that the framework was never a limiting factor. The willingness to try it and really execute and buy into it was the limited fact. The new belief that comes, it's not that the tool isn't the answer. My commitment to running the tool is the answer. Limiting belief 3 of 4. This is just how it is here. Here's how it shows up. Have you ever said things like, oh, our parents don't engage. Our teachers won't change. Our district won't approve it. Our kids come from that neighborhood over there. There's too much trauma. When you narrate constraints as facts about reality instead of stories about what you've decided is possible, the data fails to confirm the story you're telling yourself. But the story shapes how you read the data in the first place. Play it safe principals aren't lazy or unintelligent. They're just trapped inside a frame they don't see as a frame. Here's what shifts when this third limiting belief breaks. You notice your language. Our parents don't engage becomes, I haven't found the way to engage our parents yet. That's not semantics. It's an entire shift, a mindset shift. The constraint moves from the outside immovable to the inside, which you have control over. And once you have control, the self-mentor wakes up. Here's the new belief that's unlocked. The story I'm telling about my campus is creating the campus I'm seeing. Oh, the story I'm telling myself is creating the reality I experience. Limiting belief number 4. If I say what I really think, I'll lose people. Here's how it shows up. You soften the message, you hedge the speech, you add qualifiers that protect you legally but drain the message of any conviction. You tell yourself you're being professional or diplomatic, when what you're really doing is you're just performing for the most fragile person in the room. Yeah. That kind of communication misses because it's designed to miss. It's designed to be unobjectable, unremarkable, and it moves nobody. Here's what shifts when that belief breaks. You realize that the people that are worth keeping, aren't kept by being guarded and hedging and conservative. They're kept by being bold. They're kept by being courageous and by using clarity. The teachers who quit over a bold memo were already halfway out the door, and they're going to push back on anything anyways. Saying the hard thing in a way that lands isn't reckless. It just feels safer because the cost is invisible until now. The new belief that you adopt, clarity is a gift to my people, hedging is a tax. So what's common between all these limiting beliefs? What's the common theme? The theme is that you're waiting. Waiting. Self-mentorship, on the other hand, is active. You are taking ownership, you're taking control, you're taking steps forward. So I want to share here toward the end just 4 best practices in terms of how to adopt the path of self-mentorship. Number 1 would be to bookmark Digital Danny and the Ruckus Maker Club, and more on that in a second. I'll be able to show that to you. Number 2, the Ruckus Maker Club and Digital Danny has an app. Make sure you download that, put it on your phone, right? So if it's bookmarked, number 1, to your browser of choice, and it's on your phone and laptop, you'll be able to use it frequently. Number 3, best practice, write detailed prompts, right? When it comes to working with Digital Danny, if you're using sort of cheap, generic, very easy prompts, it's going to give you cheap, generic, very easy outputs. So the more detail you put in, the better the output. And then the final of 4 best practices, I want you to open 3 things every day, okay? This is really important. And the 3 things you should open, you should always have your calendar open so you know like what's coming up, right? Your meetings, what you got, hopefully your plan for the day is on that calendar. 2, you always want to have your goals open, because this is like, what are you trying to accomplish over the next 90 days strategically? And in addition to that, what are your big top 3 things that you're going to do today, right? So if you only did 3 things aligned to your 90-day goals, you would feel great about your progress. So when you have your calendar open, you got your 90-day goals and your today big 3. The 3rd thing you should have open every day is Digital Danny. Because if you remember, right, you don't get to choose when chaos shows up on your campus. It's just going to show up. The teacher that quits, the irate parent. It doesn't always have to be a challenge and reactive and difficult. It could be like, oh, I'm thinking what my 90-day goals should be, right? Or where I'm leading the campus. Have Digital Danny open so you see him, he's visual, and start a conversation. He'll help. Leaders that are using him consistently are writing in emails, texts, DMs to me all the time about how helpful he's been. Inside the Ruckus Maker Club in the Ruckus Lounge, if you go over to the Self-Mentorship Prompt Starter in the featured section, I'm clicking on that now, there are 10 prompts as a starter pack that you can use with Digital Danny. Now you can just have a conversation, jump all in and go wild, which is great. And I'm not going to read through all of these prompts, but I do want to point out a few things. Okay. They're categorized. So starting your day, in the middle of it. It tells you kind of what it's called, when to use it every morning. And then in italics is the actual prompt. In bold in the italics is where you insert context that is specific to you. Okay. So that's really important. Let's just look through the categories. Start your day, in the middle of it, when you're stuck, end your day, once a week, once a month, right? So there's a lot of great stuff in there, 10 prompts that you can use. If you go to Digital Danny in the club, which he's right here, you can see there's 5 additional prompts to get you started. And you could just start chatting. I'm going to show you that in just a second. Last few things I want to show. Make sure you're logged in, right? So I have my email, daniel@betterleadersbetterschools.com. That's in the top right. By logging in, Digital Danny will prompt you, enter your email. It'll send you a 5-digit code. That way you can log in. That's important because Digital Danny's always there. He never forgets and evolves with you. That never forgets and evolves with you only happens if you're logged in. So he can keep track of what you've been chatting about. It might be 2 weeks later. He remembers what you're talking about 2 weeks later if you bring it up. He might ask you about how did it go, right? And keep them informed. Unlike other LLMs and AI models, Digital Danny is very secure. He does not train himself on the content you put in there. So whether it's just chats or student data or whatever, that's just between you and Digital Danny. It's backed up every night. And if you ever close your account, that data goes with you. So this is very secure. Every other LLM that you might use, whatever you type in there, it is training on that data. So Digital Danny does not do that. Again, the context in which he provides answers, heart surgeon versus the primary care physician, it's only content I've created, only coaching calls that I've done in real life with real school leaders just like you, right? So it's precise in terms of what you're going through. I will point out a few more things and wrap this up. You can chat, you can call. So whether you like typing or whether you're on the go or you just prefer voice, you can talk to it. Okay. If you need to click new chat to start a new conversation. So let me show you that really quick. I click new chat. This is an old chat. You can see I was testing some prompts. Top left, rewind button. You can see all these old conversations. If you ever wanted to share it, archive it, rename it, you can do so. I would suggest clicking new conversation anytime you start a new topic. So let's go ahead and do that. It's starting a new conversation. Hey, cool. And I'll just say, hey, Digital Danny, super stoked to work with you right now. It is Friday, and so I'd like to review sort of the top things that have happened throughout the week and identify blind spots and areas of which I can grow. So what would you have me do in order to accomplish that goal? Put that in. He's thinking. Haha, he loves the energy. Great. Friday reflection. Here's what I do. Notice this number 2. Everything in here, it'll show you where he's pulling from. So there's a number of podcasts. There's my website, right? There's a few books, even a course module that I taught, right? So if you want to dive deeper into that stuff, you can. That's great. He's giving me questions. What progress did I make? Am I happy with it? Yeah, this is good stuff. This is what I literally have taught. What do I need to focus on next week, right? And that's a self-mentorship loop right there. Okay, cool. So I'll let you just use the tool. I hope you enjoyed this self-mentorship sprint. Wherever you're watching this, leave a comment. What was most helpful? What are you most excited to try? If you're confused, stuck, need some support, leave a comment. I'll hop in there and help you out. But other than that, just so appreciate you. Bye for now and go make a ruckus.